Please. No. Man, this is like one of my favorite. Please don't die on me. That's so frustrating. Hello, hello. Gonna be on page. What was it? Yes. Row 39599. On page 341. Sticky fingers. Oh my gosh, Aubrey's in here. Hi, Aubrey. Want to learn how to do some notes? And medicine, pulmonary. That is. Try not to bump the mic. 94002. That's page 828. Love your handwriting. I think that's the first compliment I've ever had on my handwriting. Notes, all my pages are mixed up. Hold on. So sorry. Pulmonary starts 94002 and goes to 94799 on page. This is another reason why you shouldn't take your book apart. My pages are everywhere, all out of order. I think that's it for this page. Let's move on. And this is actually different than last year's picture, so it might be a little difficult. Right about here is what's called the ostium, which is opening that connects sinus to nasal cavity. And before I make too many notes, I'm gonna try and make a little drawing. So, let's see here. I'm gonna go green. Oh my. Certainly not an artist. Okay, and then let's use purple. Those little wiggly things. Let me turn it down. Those are the bronchioles. And from there, it breaks down even further. We'll use red for the, how do you spell that? Alveoli. That word reminds me of ravioli. And capillaries. And Alveoli are the little tiny air-filled sacs that are at the end of the bronchioles. Cool. Picasso. Okie dokie. And nasal cavity includes the roof or the floor of the mouth and lateral wall of nose. Here we go. Larynx. Trin. Like this. Thank God for these erasable pens. Intrinsic. There's another N in there. Intrinsic. Of course. I have a nasal septum in there. The septum is the divider between nostrils. Pink. Um, it's so difficult because the pictures are different. I mean, they point out the same stuff, but it's throwing me off so bad. Down here is the diaphragm. And that is back on page 341. 341. You mind asking what pens these are? These are, focus, these are the Pilot Frixion pens. They are on Amazon, I think, for I want to say $26. They get all these really pretty ones and they erase. So that's super awesome. And they don't bleed. I know these pages are really thin, so you can kind of see through them, but they don't actually bleed. So that's really nice. Waiting to schedule my test. First time taking the practice test. We keep running out of time. Um, yeah. With the final exam, you get about 2 minutes per question, but not every question will take 2 minutes. So sometimes it'll be like 30 seconds, and you know, notes I think really do help get through the questions quickly. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, pilot pens are some of the best, in my opinion. Let's see, diaphragm is a major muscle. And it separates the thorax from the abdomen. And then mediastinum, however you pronounce that, mediastinum. Yeah. That is going to be essentially the entire cavity that the lungs sit in. Oh my gosh. I swear I had dinner and now I'm like ready to slip into a food coma. Mediastinum. And that is also on page 341. Will you do medical coding only or also billing? I do both for work. Um, so I currently work for 3 providers. 2 of them are anesthesiologists, and the other one is a geriatric provider. So I don't know, when it comes to their coding, it's very monotonous in the sense where, a lot of the codes are the same because they're specialties. So I don't really have to deal too much with coding. But the billing, that's a whole different story. And billing it varies so much, especially state to state, that it's really hard to give any sort of like definitive knowledge about it, if that makes sense. Um, like obviously Medicare is for the elderly, Medicaid is by state. But it's also kind of difficult because I live in Utah and all of my providers are in Hawaii. And so I'm like very remote and I don't know, I get phone calls all night because of the time difference. They're like 3 or 4 hours behind. So right now it's like 9:30 and over there it's like 5:30. I will say though that most places, if you get into medical billing or coding, they will train you on the spot just because it's so specific per provider, per office, per clinic, you know. They'll teach you on the job. All right, let's see. So, the left lung um, is two lobes. What is your favorite part about doing coding? Um, that's a good question. I mean, I've always been interested in anatomy. I really, really like anatomy and physiology and all that cool stuff. I think my favorite part about coding is it almost feels like Sherlock Holmes. Like you have to keep digging to get to the correct codes, choosing the right codes and all that. And plus, it's super satisfying when you're actually able to get like reimbursement for your codes. The right lung has three lobes. That looks weird. Hold on. Hold up. Oh, least favorite part. um, hmm. I think I had a really hard time, really actually learning how to do it. And it it got very frustrating. I can't lie. But I think once you start to understand terminology a little bit more, it starts to click. I don't think it actually clicked for me until I was, gosh, maybe like 7 years in. I know it's a very specific thing, like, it's not something that everybody can do, but I do believe anybody can do it, Doesn't really make sense, but if you actually put your mind to it, you could do anything. Repetition helps. Okay, all right. So, trachea, that is called the windpipe. Mhm. I think. Yeah, let's break this up. So, like that. Nope. I don't know what I'm doing. Only goes about halfway up. And it just kind of stops there. So that's how they break up the different quadrants of the lung. We've got, good Lord, a lot up here. How am I going to fit this? Superior. Superior mediastinum. And that would make this one posterior. Posterior, middle, and anterior. Well, I anterior is actually the front. The front part, and then the middle is like in. I don't know how to. I don't know how to make that a picture. Posterior is in the back, like the back of the lung. Goodness. No, that's fine. That makes sense, right? Sorta. I don't know. It's good. So, I mean, technically, I could draw like a lung from the side. It just kind of looks like a lump, like that. Essentially, like that. And then, freaking face. It's not gonna work. I'm not even gonna try. In fact, I will just write back and front. Ta-da. Yeah, posterior is back. So this is. I was trying to figure out how to point to the back of the lung. Very detailed. I don't even bother to buy books anymore. Yes. Yeah. Once you finish with your CPC, CPB, most people don't really even bother with the books anymore. Because most of it is online now. You can just kind of Google it, or like I said, most offices have like a certain set of codes that they use frequently. I guess maybe if you're working in like the ER or something where you're getting very like unique cases, you might want to have a book. Down here, let's put. I think we'll do abbreviations. So, EBUS. Hospital coding, so still definitely necessary. Yeah. Been curious about hospital coding. I think that would be a lot of fun, but it also seems kind of overwhelming. Do bronchial ultrasound. Should be 3156 315. Hmm. Oh, it's 316. 316. Right there. So 31652 54. That is page 226. And FESS is sinus surgery. There are quite a few codes for endoscopic sinus surgery, endoscopic sinus, endoscopic. So I'm just going to put the page number 219. Also on that same page is APE, which is hello, interior and posterior ethmoid ectomy. And that's also going to be with ethmoidectomy, anterior and posterior. So that's 31255 through 31259. There's another one that I came across. Cannot remember it, but I will put that, which is video assisted. What? Thoracoscopic surgery. And that starts on page 231. Got just a couple more to HAST, which is high altitude simulation. And that one's actually going to be in the medicine codes, not the surgery. Got all my pages mixed up. Goes there. Okay. Should be. Good Lord. 944. 944 52. Is that even a code? Oh, here we go. 94452. You're in school? No, I finished my school. I've paid my dues. Nine, 4452. Boy. Page 829. You know, I still need to study after. Um, yes and no. If you do get your CPC or CPD, you are required to do your CEUs. Golly, look at this. That's why you gotta keep your book together. Don't take the spiral out like I did. Um, so you're always going to be continuing your education, yada yada, but I just like to make notes, mostly to share with other people. But they are really good to reference either way. It's good to like refresh your memory every now and again. What else is on this page? We will do PFTs. Pulmonary function tests. Is that right? Oh Lord, here we go again. 2, 4. Yeah. 2, 4. Once again, I'm just gonna put the page number, page 829. Okay. Pick up all the pens that I've dropped. My desk isn't big enough. What else can I add? Up here, I'll put C page. I believe it's 37. 36. So the respiratory system anatomy starts on page 35 in ICD-10. How often are you on here? Lately, not often. Um, I'm gonna say it again. I say this every time. I'm really gonna try to be on here more often. It's been a really busy couple of months, but I really, really need to get my notes done and out of the way. So, yeah, I'm gonna try and be live more often. I'm starting to get more comfortable with it. Trying to study for my exam. Can we link up? Hmm. I want to say yeah. um, I mean, I'm always here. You know, feel free to message me. I do sell my notes if you're interested in those. I know people don't really like to spend extra money, after they've already bought the books and the course. Um, so, but I'm gonna try to be live more often, kind of go through some of this. Maybe try to help whoever. I do have a couple like blog posts on my page that go into some tips and tricks and kind of explains like CEUs and RVUs. If you're bored, you could always take a look at my website. Let me see if I can point to it. It's right there up at the top of the screen. There's also a link in my bio that will take you directly to it. Let's see. I also want to start doing, I've seen some other coders, they'll get on live and actually go through like example questions and help people out that way, which I really want to start doing. But my notes do have some examples in them, just not a lot. You know what I'm saying? The case studies, yeah. Oh, I know. Those case studies, those got me. Every single time I was struggling with those. And I feel like AAPC, they make it so hard to understand what they want you to do. Um, my best advice for case studies, I think, is to mostly just focus on what is it, the post-operative diagnosis and procedure. I know it gets really, really complicated, especially when they start talking about like sutures and dressings. Because those things are included with the global surgery code or package. Yeah, it gets super confusing. I'm not really happy with the way AAPC has it set up like that. Cardiology, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, in cardiology, that one is. That can be a doozy for sure. Um, what I like to do for cardio. See, is this the right one? Yeah. So with cardio, this will help a lot. If you're able to pick a couple colors for arterial and venous, that helps. Let me see. Where is my old CPT book? So this is my 2024 book. Let me bring you out a little bit. Let me see if there's any good tips and tricks in here. Um, writing lead numbers off to the side really helps. Um, the removal versus insertion is good to note. Yeah, man, cardio coding is just one of those that, oh man, they get paid really, really well though. So if you're able to actually get cardio coding down, you won't have any problems with your paycheck. AA degree in HIT. I don't think I've heard of that before. I went through AAPC to get my CPC and CPB. What is an AA degree? Let me look that up really quick. Associate of Arts degree in Health Information Technology. That's impressive. That sounds fun too. Um, yeah, I I don't really have advice for that. I'm sorry. Um, Health Information Technology. I've been itching for a new program, for a new course. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to learn more. Trying to get my exam done, so I'm trying to figure out what to study. Yes. Yeah, that's one of the biggest issues I had with my course is it feels like they just flood you with all this information and you're just kind of expected to keep up with the class. And I did not. I fell behind, I think, a couple months. I still showed up for like the meetings or whatever, but I was behind in my studying. So that was even more confusing where, they were already like a chapter or two ahead of me. And I'm like, wait, guys, please. I don't get it. Risk adjustment. Yeah, that's cool. I I know AAPC has their risk adjustment. AAPC, and I feel so lost. Yeah, I know. I wish I could help. I mean, I'm trying to help with my notes and whatnot. Um, like I said, I don't think it actually started to click for me until I was like nearly halfway through the program. I was like, there's so many parentheticals, there's how do I sequence these codes? But then I took the test, and the test really wasn't that bad. I got it on the first try. And what's nice with AAPC is they give you two attempts. So if you don't get it the first time, you know, you can try again, but it's still just so confusing. You're studying now and watching your life. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's just I love AAPC, but I also hate them. I have such a love-hate with them, especially with their costs. Their courses are, in my opinion, pretty pricey for what they teach you. If you do decide to go with like the self-study route, AAPC has a study guide that they're selling for, I think, $100, but it actually goes through just about everything that the course did. So, just a little FYI, if you don't want to pay the full, I think my course was 1800 just for the coding course. Freaking ridiculous. Let's see, am I done with this yet? Mm, that's what I was working on. Costs way more now. Oh my. I can't even imagine what they're costing now. Halfway through chapter 4. Haven't even started CPT yet and already overwhelmed. Yeah. Yeah. I really wish I had some advice. Um, you know, just stick with it. Um, take it section by section, definitely. I mean, I know their course already has it broken up section by section, but when I took my course, it was like, here's the respiratory section, here's all the medical terminology, here's the ICD, and then here's also the CPT for just that chapter. And it's like, oh my gosh, I can't. I can't. My brain is melting. And I don't feel like they give you long enough to go through the course. Medical terms is vital. Yes, absolutely. That will help you beyond anything else. Learning the prefixes and suffixes, that will help so, so much. That's why it's helpful also to make notes. I'll make notes. Make notes in your book, including those. So, let's see. The only thing I have left to do, I think, for this chapter, there's artery. Oh, that's atrial. The only thing I have left to do is actually go through and put in all the RVUs, which is totally optional, but I like to put them in there. Do you record your lives by chance? TikTok, so I'm doing my live through my computer, so it automatically like captures the live, and I can actually go back through and edit it and post whatever. I have been considering just taking my TikTok live and putting it on YouTube. The only thing I need to be careful about is the music, because YouTube does not like copyrighted music whatsoever. So I think I might actually start doing that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean if it's something that people want to watch and is interested in, I'm more than happy to. In fact, I will probably post this live, cause why not? Start getting my notes out there. I think though I'm gonna save the RVUs for off live just because it's kind of boring to watch. Um, RVU. So your notes have the RVUs, yes. I put in the work RVU. So there's three different kinds of RVUs. Um, there's what? I can't remember them right now. My brain. Anyways, I put in the work RVU, and the work RVU is kind of like the baseline for what you can expect. That's probably not the best explanation. My website, though, has a great explanation if you want to check that out. But the work RVUs, they stay standard throughout the country for the codes, whereas the other two RVUs, like the physician, I think, RVU, and there's one more, but those ones vary state by state. So work RVUs, they also help in, let's see, one of my examples here had, where did it go? Here we go. So, like this example, for instance, So the provider removes a chest tube and then inserts another chest tube on the same side, um, same tube, same place. But this code, 32550, that's actually the insertion. And even though the insertion happened after the removal, um, this one is a higher work RVU versus the removal, which is 2.53. Sorry, the camera's not even down there. Good lord. So this one's a lower work RVU, so that one actually comes in second. That's really the only reason why you would need to put the RVUs is when you're trying to sequence codes. You always want to put the higher RVU first. Trying to make sure I'm not putting out like misinformation here because it does vary. Obviously, you're going to put your, what's the word I'm looking for? Definitive procedure first. But if you've got like multiple codes and you're trying to figure out the sequencing, typically they'll go by work RVU. And instead of having to look up each one, I mean, I do anyways, but I look it up and then put it in the book so that I can easily figure out the sequence. Found someone doing the Lord's work. Amen. Amen. Yeah, no, I really wish when I was doing my courses that there was some direction. Because I was terribly confused going through the course. I do have to say, AAPC's course, I mean, it's very user friendly, but it's not necessarily student friendly, if that makes sense. So again, I'm probably going to do the RVUs off live. Let me see. Let's see. 3136065 7. Three, 1, 3, 7, 5. Okay. 1591. You barely see that. Did you pass your CPC exam? Yes, I did. First time too. It wasn't 100%, but I only missed a couple, which is pretty nice. Uh, 2991, 38, 81, 57. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna do the RVUs off live. It's just boring. It's not very fun to watch. Oh, oh, oh. I'm throwing them. I think that is it for this system now. Make sure all my pages are all out of order. 13, 15, 17, 21 goes there. 23, 25. Yeah, right. Yep, yep, yep. I think that's gonna do it for this live, though. It's already been an hour. Feels like time flies. Um, Tomorrow I will try to go live again, and I will start in on the dreaded cardio. So, I'm going to try to post this live on YouTube. I'll see how that goes. The username should be the same as here on TikTok. Thank you guys for joining tonight. And hopefully I see you again tomorrow, if not Sunday. What's today? Friday? Yeah, if not tomorrow, then Sunday for sure. Anyways, good luck, everybody. Happy coding. Talk to you soon. Have a good night. Bye.